Hey there, it's Anioł here. Welcome to the channel. In this episode, we'll talk a little bit about the Dragon Siege season. We'll talk about what the map looks like, what I like, and what I don't. And of course, we'll collect our rewards, because as you can see, it's time for the summary. By the way, I'll warn you against one alliance that, to put it mildly, didn't behave well. Basically, they took something from us that they shouldn't have touched. And what exactly am I talking about? We're talking, of course, about these citadels. Yes, we are talking about these citadels. The alliance that did this is, of course, the Foo server. Here we have the Foo server, here we have Snowman. And which server is this? Server 47. So if you ever have the pleasure or displeasure of playing with them, watch out for your rewards and remember not to trust them. I'll show you what this betrayal looked like from our perspective. Basically, it was an hour before, not even an hour before, so there was no time to take it back, no time to defend, because no normal person suspects their allies of betrayal, right? Especially since that alliance didn't really distinguish itself, but more on that in a moment. The betrayal itself looked like even Snowman himself, their king, was probably checking if I was online at 12. You know, we played the whole KvK together, so they knew when we had downtime, so it wasn't some accidental action, but an organized move to stab their ally in the back. I'm not just talking about VP, but in our zone, we also had GSS, which was our typical ally with whom we shared the zone. And GSS and Foo played 3 KvKs together. GSS outvoted us to be with Foo, because they supposedly communicated perfectly and had good coordination. As I said at the beginning, the 2 strongest alliances, the 2 strongest camps, were Han and OPB. And from the very start, it was known that if these 2 alliances, these 2 camps, were together, the chance of winning this season would be very low. I'm no prophet, but the game works in a way that if a given alliance has many more strong accounts. Anyway, let's look at the power rankings. If certain alliances have many strong players, as you can see, it's basically Han and OPB, meaning CLB, in the top spots. There's no hiding it, such alliances have many more troops at their disposal, so they can fight longer and more. There's no great philosophy here. Anyway, GSS outvoted us because they wanted Foo. Foo wanted GSS. And at the very end of KvK, Foo repaid us by taking our citadel. They attacked us during downtime when no one expected it. And they just took it over. The most interesting part is the reason why they took it. It's obviously about the rewards, right? But if you look at those rewards, what they actually are, in my opinion, it wasn't worth it at all. What they did wasn't worth it. Namely, they took our 3rd citadel so they could have 6. Nothing was agreed upon with us on global chat, of course. They tried to tell those who were defending that everything was agreed upon, but that was a lie, obviously. So, not only are we dealing with traitors, but we are also dealing with liars. I'm only saying this so you know to watch out for them if you ever run into them. I would understand if it were for some dragon, right? But for one decoration, it's shameful, simply shameful. That's all I can say. If you want to get a decoration, you don't have to betray anyone. You can just go here, open a few chests, and you even have 2 premium decorations, right? I just don't get it. Yeah, but it's good they did that, because they showed who we are dealing with, right? Besides, anyone who knows VP's history knows that we've been betrayed once before. And the alliance that betrayed us back in the day was the AC Alliance, server 220, if I'm not mistaken. I recorded a pretty interesting video, so if you haven't seen it, it should pop up for you here in the top right corner. It's a bit different from the others, but people really liked it, so I encourage you to watch it. And, of course, what is the correlation between server 220 and server 47? The correlation is that when server 220 fell apart after the betrayal, some people from server 220 moved to server 47. And those people hold our 4 positions there. They were in charge of diplomacy, so those are the people we had to work with. I, of course, fought tooth and nail against us being allies with Foo. Because, as I said, there was no chance of winning with such allies. Here, for example, we have data from the previous KvK on what it looked like. Server 476 is the GSS server from the last KvK. They healed a lot, they fought a lot, lots of merits, lots of healing, quite a few deaths, so they fought bravely. Here we are, lots of healing, lots of merits, some deaths. There was also a lot of fighting here, and here we have server 47. Few heals, few deaths, not to mention the merits at all. So not only did they fail to impress in the last KvK, but they didn't surprise or impress this time either. When we were still fighting in the dragon's territory, we and GSS were still close to that dragon 2 days later, 2 days after the gates opened. However, by the first day, our allies, Fu and LND, had already been pushed off the plateau, so there was no chance for them to return. Especially since we saw what the fighting in Zone 2 looked like. Whoever watched the streams knows that Fu and Lane were practically digging in here on the first day. Behind the Citadel, their main fights were really only at the Citadel, so they were defending themselves the whole season. However, we and GSS fought bravely for over a week, right? There were 14 days of fighting here, but because we wanted to heal up for the Dragon Zone and fight there, we retreated to recover. Yes, because we could have actually fought a bit more here, but we gave it up. So that's what it all looked like in a nutshell. Now, let's move on to the rankings themselves. Let's go to the top 10 warriors in VP22. As for my account and my performance, almost 35 million merits. I think that's a pretty cool result. Let's look at the rankings. For personal merits, I'm in 54th place. Let's see who my neighbors are. 34 million from an account that has 250 million power. The next account has 210 million power. Those are my neighbors, so I think I did my part. Next to me is the witch, who also never lets me down. A very nice result for that amount of power. And those are our neighbors, right? Very, very strong accounts. As for power, this is how the Alliance's power looks right now. However, when it comes to merits, this is exactly how they look. So we see, well, OPB, CLB, outclassed, no point in talking here. And the rest of the alliances look like this. There were 8 main alliances here, and we have GSS, LND, AFK, Noobs, Fu, VP22, Hana, and CLB. Yeah, if we recall the previous KvK in the last performance, we can see that server 47 just doesn't deliver, right? That's why I didn't want to be with them, but they insisted. GSS insisted on being with them. Interestingly, people from GSS who wanted to be with Fu already migrated after the first week. So we ended up with the ally we ended up with. However, let's move on to the top 10 players in VIP. Let's look at the classic top 10 warriors. I think it's worth paying tribute to our best players here. Although I believe that a truly huge part of VIP performed very well. And now we can move on to those people. Overall merit. Number 1, Dubik 55 million. Number 2, Hodex 38 million. Number 3, Arabe 37 million. 4th is me, 34 million. Witch is on my tail. Maybe Witch is behind me. That will sound better. 34 million. Sleppy, 33 million. Roy, 32 million. Podcastielny, 32 million. Our new recruit Spider-Man, 31 million. And number 10, Zoka, 28 million. As for infantry merit, let's see who led us here. Number 1, Roy.pl, 26 million. Hodax, 26 million. Dubik, 23 million. Barrett, 19 million. Mesjaz almost 19 million. Zaborg 18 million. Baki 17.5 million. Francie Lucas 16,700,000. Sleppy almost 16 million. And More Dragon 15 million. As for cavalry, SZCZUR Baytek in first place with a lot of cavalry merit, 20 million. 47 migrated, so we'll skip him here. So I am number 2, 16,500,000, Hero 15 million. Number 3, Queens 14 million, Agites almost 11 million, Dubik 9 million, Valor 6.5 million, Francel Luca 6 million, Kodax 4 million, and number 10 Nobi 3.2 million cavalry merit. As for archers, let's see what this disparity looks like. Number 1, Dubik 20 million, Anioł 13 million, and 10 million, Nobi 10 million, RTM 6 million, Clown 6 million, Zoka 5 million, Magistralis 5 million, Sleppy 5 million, and number 10, Shelby 4 million. And the last category is, of course, mages. Arabe 27 million, Witch 27 million, Podkasielny number 3 24 million, AGI 23 million, Spider-Man 22 million, Melise 19 million, Miss Agent 17 million, Adrianescu 17 million, Zoka 16 million, and number 10 Asu 15 million. That was the top 10 players in each category, so there's nothing left but to see the summary and collect our rewards, right? Let's check the summary. It is Season 7, not 8, so let's look at this season. The most important statistics are these 17,000 battles. I am in the top 2.5% of players in this KvK. I think that's a cool result. The most used march was Freya and Sagnar. The most used artifact was the Wolf Whole Horn. And the most used pet was the Blade Manticore. So, there was really a lot of cavalry play here. July 11th, I don't know what day that was, but 3.3 million merits. As for healed units, we healed 80 million units, of which 30 million were healed with resources. Quite a large number, but an even larger one is the number of dead units. There was certainly no shortage of those this season. 1.7 million. That's how many we lost during this KvK. I don't know how I'll buy them back, but it has to be done somehow. Here we have some less significant information. And here is my overall activity chart, so I think we really did well. Second place reward. Meanwhile, the last interesting statistic in this playback is the total number of merits. 1,850,000,000 merits this season. We healed 1,600,000 units using resources. From what I know, these are likely T4 and T5 units. And we have almost 100 million fallen. So, we fought really well and bravely. Here, a huge bow from me to our players, because even against a stronger opponent, we showed we can compete. I think it was a cool KvK to show that you can fight even the strongest ones. So, that's behind us now, let's move on to the rewards. Let's collect our rewards. A few tokens, a compendium, which we will get to in a moment. Flama, not Flama, some decorations, Amber, which I'll find useful. Let's upgrade the pet right away. Here is Flama. Let's spin the wheel. Yes, let's classically spin the wheel. I got Ruby. Fine, so be it. Yes, we have Ruby unlocked. Oh well, was there anyone here I wanted to get? Not necessarily, so it doesn't matter. And let's collect the emblem, which will be useful for rolling ideals, of course. I haven't finished all the policies, as you can see, because I didn't do the ones I don't need. For example, I didn't max out Mayway, I didn't unlock the policy for Saluna because I don't have Saluna, so I didn't need it. In conclusion, let's heal the units using prestige. Why not? While I still remember to do it. Here we have the number of fallen. What does it look like? 750,000 units. That's how many I'll have to buy back. A lot of units, but really cool fights, so I don't regret it. And now let's move on to choosing bonuses for the home kingdom. Of course, I'm taking the same ones as always. Healing percentage, more daily pets, and of course more merits from Abyss, just to play them less. So these are the best choices, in my opinion, for my account. And to wrap up, we have the most interesting rewards, which is the artifact draw. We have 20 keys, so we can try our luck a bit. Let's choose the artifacts we are interested in. Obviously, artifacts for cavalry. I think we can upgrade the Torquest. Of course, I think the Rattle Spear will still be used sometimes. And as for the last artifact we choose, this is quite a curiosity, what to pick for the last one. I think I'll go with the shield, you know? I think we'll pick the shield, as I'm not really interested in the other artifacts here. We have the most important ones maxed out, so let's see what we get. Yes, I'd like to get the axe for Agnar and the Torquest. And what will we get? Let's check it out. Purple. Nothing interesting. Nothing interesting. Nothing interesting. Another purple one. Let's hope we get 3 legendary artifacts. I'd really like that. Yes, it's been a while since we had 3 legendary artifacts, so it would be nice to change that, but it probably won't happen this time. So we'll probably end up with just those 2. There's a slim chance we'll get anything else. Okay, we have the Torquest, which is a brilliant artifact. It's what we wanted. I'm curious to see what the second artifact will be. Of course, I'd like to get another Torquest to level up the artifact even further. I really like this artifact, especially since it's universal. so it can serve any infantry legion one have. And I recommend you go for the tour quest as well. If you don't have infantry, I think this is the best artifact because it's universal, right? Alright, we have the last legendary. Let's see, we have the Sorland Blade. Yes, that's how it works. We get one guaranteed, and then a non-guaranteed artifact. Oh well, it's a copy for the collection. So, what now? Let's upgrade the tour quest. Where is it? Here you can see my collection. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 copies. Quite a nice result, I think. Higher necklace level. However, if we go into the city, I don't think I have enough to do another spin. We don't have them. Not yet. Maybe to finish off, we'll buy a skill for the pet, as we have 4 ambers, so I think it's worth doing. We'll buy advanced corrosion for our newest pet. So, to finish up, let's upgrade our pet. I'll show you how this pet currently looks. This is my newest pet. It was caught this way, so some skills were already here, and we'll replace the last skill. And of course, we'll replace the useless skill. The critical damage skill from hero skill damage is unnecessary, so let's change it to advanced corrosion. And I think our pet is practically finished, right? Yes, that's the skill. Of course, we just have left to upgrade the talent to 3 stars. And in time, we'll get a 2-star chain strike. And probably a 3-star hit weakness. How much more damage would we have at 3 stars? 8% to 8.5% more. So, decent damage. We'll see how this pet performs. Generally, I have no complaints about it, so by the next KvK, maybe not 3 stars, but 2 will be there. So we'll see what this pet can do. Anyway, that's it for this episode. I'll be saying goodbye to you now. You know what to do. Take care.